Hey guys, welcome to the Made for This podcast. We're your hosts, Brycelyn
and Alana and Moose.
And this is where you find out that you were made for
this. Well, welcome back, and welcome back to us too.
Yeah.
It has been a long summer full of fun and adventure and God moments. And so without really trying to take a break, it kind of happened that way just because we were so busy. But we are so excited to be back. We are so excited for what God's doing and what he's about to do in this podcast.
Yeah.
And we'll share a little bit more about that at the end of the podcast. But we are just so glad to be back with you. Thank you for your prayers this summer. Thank you for reaching out and listening to old episodes. We have been blown away at the support, and we wouldn't be doing this without you guys and without God. And so we just want to say thank you for listening in.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like Alana was saying, this summer has been absolutely insane when it comes to camps and travel, spontaneous trips, vacations, all kinds of stuff. And so, like I was thinking about this the other day about our bingo cards, whatever episode that was.
Yeah.
We made a whole list of things that we want to do, and y'all, we're making it happen this summer. And we did like spontaneous trip to to Bonifay, Florida.
Whoop,
we
whoop.
did it. We decided the night before or the day before, and we're like, hey, let's just go to Bonifay tomorrow, and we did. And all kinds of different things. And one trip specifically that we're gonna talk more about on this episode is Jamaica. So your girls went out of the country.
Sure did.
To share and preach the gospel. And it was just absolutely insane. It was my first time being out of the country, but it was Alana's first time on a plane.
Yes.
Which was insane. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, thank you for that. That was one of the main things I wanted to talk about. So in recent episodes, I've talked about growing up with a spirit of fear. And I remember as a little girl, missionaries coming to our church, and one missionary in specific, Pastor Curtis Silcox, who would always go to China. And this man, in my mind and in my heart, still hung the moon. And if you ever hear about him, just know he is one of my heroes. And even as a little girl, he was that. And I don't even really understand why, except for that as a little girl, my heart was called to missions. And he embodied that to me. And so every time he came to our church, he would look at me and say, Alana, when are you turning 18? And I just saw him like 2 months ago. Because you're going to go to China with me. Alana, every single time, whether I was 7 or whether I was 15 or when I actually came to Scottsboro on J through 8, he never failed to look me in the eyes and to ask me that question. And as a little girl, I remember my heart burning for missions. Not that I was going to go live somewhere, but that I wanted to go and impact countries. I just knew that was going to be a part of my calling and what I was made for. Mm-hmm. But then with the spirit of fear, it always suppressed it because I was so scared of airplanes.
Right. I'm
not a big closed, tight space person. I'm not a big elevator fan. And in my mind, that's what an airplane represented. It wasn't the height. It wasn't flying. It wasn't anything that the normal person would think of. It was, I'm getting on this thing and I can't get off of it if I want to.
Yep.
But you don't want to get off of it when you're that high. So I remember we were getting ready to go to Jamaica, and I was sitting at the table with my family. My whole family went, which was so sweet. But my uncle looked at me and he said, are you going to go with us? And I said, I don't know if I can get off work, like all the excuses.
Yeah.
And my family likes to joke. And so he made a joke, but it hit me in my spirit. He said, well, Alana's going to let the spirit of fear keep her from going. And I was like, I'm going. Like, as soon as he said that, I was like, I'm going. And that's it. I don't got to pray about it. I don't need to do it because I know this is a part of my calling.
Yep.
And even when I came to J3A, actually, and I know I'm speaking about this a little too long, and I'll cut it out in just a minute. But Pastor Greg actually prophesied over me my first year of J3A. And he said, it's so funny because you can hear me laughing in the audio. But he said, you're going to step foot in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 continents, says the Lord. You're going to see the world. You're going to weep for the world. But I said that the world will see you and rejoice at your coming. And he said, and you've known your whole life you're called to this. And when he said that in the audio, you actually hear me kind of giggle, because I remember being 7 and 8 years old and watching Pastor Curtis come into the church and knowing my calling's connected to nations. I don't know what that looks like, but of course, here we are. I'm 21 at the time I got that prophetic word. Here we are, and the Lord's not changed his mind. So some way, somehow, this girl is going to get on a plane. And so we did. We flew out of Nashville to Miami, and I was inside quaking a little bit. But I will say I was praying up until the trip, and at the beginning of the week I was really freaking out. I was really scared. But the day before the plane, I woke up, and I remember looking at Broslyn, and I was like, something's different. It had really felt like the Lord had come in the middle of the night and changed my brain. And I don't even have really natural words to put to that. But when we got on the plane, I remember not being scared. I was nervous. I was a little like, this is out of my comfort zone. Like, this is really happening. And I even checked my watch for my heart rate, because I was like, I'm not freaking out. Like, am I psyching myself out to not freak out? You know, like, I didn't know what was going on, but my heart rate was like 79. So it was just a little elevated, not like crazy. We took off, and that got me. I get really bad motion sickness, so it kind of got me. I wasn't prepared for that. But my mom and Broslyn were sitting next to me, and they were so supportive, so supportive. And even my uncles, who usually joke on me, they hugged me and kissed me, and they had my back. And I anointed the plane when I got on. I tapped it.
Yeah, she did.
I anointed my chair. I anointed my head. I prayed. I anointed the window, and I prayed because I didn't want to give any room for the enemy.
Yeah.
And we got in the air, and we flew really early in the morning, but the sun was rising over the clouds, and I'll send a picture. You can clip it in here. Yeah. And all of a sudden the tears started to come, because my whole life I'd been scared of something that the Lord had never intended me to be scared of. He is actually the direct opposite of what I'm called to. I'm sure there's going to be many more plane rides in the future. And just sitting there and seeing the sunrise of God's faithful. He's merciful. Every morning his mercies are new. The sun always comes up, and we're sitting there on a plane, and I'm watching it come up, and I'm with my entire family, except for my dad and my brother and my grandfather, which I missed so dearly. But it was a moment I'll never forget. And then flying out of Miami to Jamaica, and then Jamaica back to Miami, and Miami to Nashville, the night flight, sealed the deal for me. I loved it. I love landing. I don't really like the taking off, but landing I adore. I think that's so fun. You get just like, everything gets real close, and then you land and you're good. You're done. Yep. It was a miracle. And I really do feel like the Lord broke a lot of things off of me in that moment. So
yeah, that's amazing. Well, one memory I do want to share, because it's just so funny. But so when I'm traveling, I'm like so travel mode. I just put my earbuds in, and I am just like a ghost to the world. Like I just, I'm just living my best life. And so we're sitting on the plane getting ready to take off, and my earbuds, like they are just up all the way, okay? And I don't hear anything except for my music. And I happened to like look over, because Alana was sitting in the window seat, and I love to see outside. And so she's sitting there, and I noticed that there's like tears coming down her face. And I'm like, there's no way she's that scared that she's just crying. Because I'm like, we haven't even taken off yet. Like, what's going on,
This is our second flight.
Yes,
so I've already did it once.
Yes, yeah. And so I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And so I didn't really think much of it. And then when we had landed in Jamaica, I heard her and her mom talking about this lady. So apparently, when we were about to take off, this lady throws her hands up in the air and starts praying in tongues.
And we don't know the lady.
Like loud. Yeah.
She's not with us.
No, just a random lady. She's praying in tongues and stuff. And Alana, what was like your thought?
My thought was, oh my gosh, does she know something I don't know? Do I also need to be praying in the spirit very loud? Is this plane going down?
Right.
Which is a horrible thought process. Because she's praying for probably her own her own self, like
Right.
not to be scared or safety over the plane. And even my family, they were like, oh, we felt so covered. We felt so safe. And I was sitting in my chair thinking, I've not heard the spirit. Something is wrong.
Right. That's so funny.
But we made it. So she was right. Thank you, whoever you are, for praying over our plane ride.
That was hilarious. But yeah, this trip was absolutely life-changing, incredible. All of the words that, like, I just can't even put into words all of, like, what God did and everything that I was feeling. You know, I don't think I truly even, like, truly processed everything that happened yet. There's just so much. But I know, like, when I was there, like, I don't know, just going up the mountain, because we landed and we had like a 2.5 hour drive up the mountain.
Yeah, we landed in Montego Bay and we had to go to St. Anne Parish, which is 2 hours into the country.
Yeah. And so and it's crazy too, because like the mountains there are not like mountains like here, at least in Alabama, and like it's like
steep.
It's really steep. And so it was just a very different and cool experience. And when we had pulled up, we noticed that there was like a roundabout, and later we'll reference like what that is, but there was a roundabout, little soccer field. And when you pass the roundabout, you go up the mountain a little bit more, and that's where we were staying. We were staying with our dear friends, missionaries, Chris and Rachel, and they are amazing. Absolutely, shout out to y'all if y'all
and
are watching.
Lydia, we love you.
Gosh, we love y'all. We miss y'all dearly. But so we pull up, and my mind, I'm thinking like we're gonna be living with the people, like we're gonna be living in tents, and like that's literally what I thought. I don't know if I had told anyone that because I didn't know what to expect.
You didn't tell me that.
So I'm like, we're literally gonna be like in it, you know. And I already expected like no AC, no nothing, you know. I'm just gonna sweat to death, you know. And so we pull up to this really nice house, and I was like, y'all, this is nice. I could do this. And so we go in, and how we're greeted is Rachel comes out with a lantern and it's dark. Like it's dark in there. And we notice obviously that it's hot. It's hot in the house. And so I know everyone's minds are rolling like, what is this? You know, like there's no power, there's no AC, no nothing. Okay. And we're in this really nice house. And so later, we were talking, and she was like, you know what? I can't hold it back any longer. This is what happened. And so it was raining. And I think it was like 20 minutes before we pulled up. It was a wet vulture landed on the power line and cut out all of the power that we had. Like all of it.
The whole community's power.
Yeah. And so 20 minutes before we pull up, and we're like, what in the world? And so we're going to bed that night. There's no lights, no AC, no fans.
Your girl is dying.
But I'm like living my best life because I already expected all that, you know? And I mean, I already sleep like the dead anyway. And I'm just really cold natured. So I'm just over there and I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping like this.
And I'm dying in my bed.
Yeah. And everyone's like, there's no fans. And so anyways, but we got power in the middle of the night, right? Is that right?
Yes, which is a miracle because in Jamaica, if you don't know, they have elections every 5 years. Well, the day after we'd got there, that following Monday, was election day. So we were thinking, if we get power, it won't be until tomorrow. So we've got to sleep this whole night without power. We might not even get it then because it's a big election day for the country. But miracle, they came at like 10 that night, got it on. We got our fans back. Thank you, Jesus. I slept finally.
Yes.
And it was a great trip from there.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So the roundabout.
Yes.
I think that's going to be where we stay.
Yeah.
I really don't know if I even have words to put it in. And I already feel the tears coming to my eyes. So at the bottom of a hill, there's a dirt roundabout. And when I say dirt, it's dirt. And that's where all the children, they actually have a little soccer field or football field right next to it. And so all the children in the community come out and they play and they hang out right there and they sit right there. Well, the first day we're there, one of our projects was to build a bench. A team before us had built them a really cute little shade shack. So it had 10 tent on top with some poles, so where they'd have some shade.
Yeah.
But they don't have anywhere to sit. And so we were going to build them a bench to sit under it. And so, of course, me and Brycelyn and Kaylee and my 2 uncles, we go down there to build a bench. And all of a sudden, these children start coming. So your girl's not building a bench anymore.
Right.
There's a lot of cute children around me, and it's time to love on these children.
Yeah.
And we meet our first 3 boys, and then we meet a bunch of little girls, and then we meet some more boys, and it was an immediate, my heart is stolen.
Yeah.
Like, there's no getting it back. It's there forever, and forever will be. But just, I really don't even have the words. Sweet.
Yeah.
Welcoming, funny, kind, accepting, loving,
Yeah.
and so understandable. Like, we're not from their culture, so we're asking questions that are probably goofy questions, and they're just telling us everything. Like, what's that fruit? And the little boy hugs me, and he's like, look at that one. And he starts telling me about that. You got to pick it when it blooms, and that you have to cook it before you eat it. And then one little other kid says, don't eat it though, it tastes like eggs. And so they're like telling us about their culture and their community. And my favorite story, and I'm going to tell this one.
Oh boy.
And I'll let Brycelyn talk about it a little bit too, because it involves her. But there was this one little boy there named Ricardo, and he was a big football player, soccer player, excuse me. And he loved Ronaldo.
Yes.
Well, Brycelyn is a Messi fan.
Yes.
And so he comes up next to me and he goes, if I play her one-on-one in soccer and I win, Ronaldo is better.
Yep.
But if she wins, Messi is better. And I said, buddy, you're going to have to make that deal with her. I can't make that for you. And so he goes, he makes a deal with her. And the next thing I know, I see them playing soccer. Do you want to say anything before I?
No, you can keep going.
Okay, so they're playing soccer. I go down there to video. And Brycelyn grew up playing soccer, so she's really good at it. The children were very shocked that this American was good at soccer. And she's doing really well, I think. I'm like, okay, girl, get it. And so I go, Ricardo, how's she doing? And he turns around without even thinking, and he goes, she's good, but I'm better. And he just starts kicking the ball and going, and he ends up winning. So I guess Ronaldo
I guess
went out.
Well, I don't know. I think I represented Messi a little not too well. Just a reminder, y'all, it's hot. Like,
Hot.
I'm telling you, like, it's at least 90 degrees, and there's absolutely no shade where that was.
No wind.
No wind. It's hot. And
Humid.
So I'm over there, and I am, like, drenched. And I said, can we have a water break? And he's like, you need a water break? And I'm like, yes, I do. I do. And so, yeah. I want to say I let him win. I really was trying. I was hot, but I wanted that game to be over. But yeah, it was so much fun to bond with Ricardo that way, and all the other children in their own little way. They absolutely captured my heart, and I miss them dearly.
I do too.
I think about them so much. And
Every day.
yeah, I'm like already like, when can we go back? And yeah, can we go tomorrow? But yeah, and I was just thinking too, like, Ricardo, like, can we just keep talking about him? Because I just love him. But I know you and Josh were talking to him about Jesus, and do you know who Jesus is? And he knew who Jesus was and what he did, but he didn't know Jesus.
Yeah.
And like, there's just a deeper way to know your Savior. And so you guys were talking a little bit about that and stuff, and that burdened my heart, because so much of the time, because I mean, time is cut short sometimes, and it's like, Jesus loves you, and like you're sharing as much as you can, but it's really hard to get to that depth and like for them to truly know him. And so like my heart is burning to go back just to possibly do something like deeper in that.
Yeah.
I don't know how we could do that, but yeah, that's just like where my heart burns for them, is just to get more, so like for them to really grasp it.
Yeah. I think so too. I think another little boy that I will talk about, and this is my guy,
Yeah.
and we will clip some photos of him because
He's precious.
he's my guy, but his name is Roshane.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I see him being a community leader one day. I see him being someone that is steady and stable and children go to for a father figure or a good husband. And I see all these things for him. But when you look around, it almost feels like, not that there's a lack of vision, because Chris and Rachel do such a fantastic job of pouring into these children, but maybe even their own heart. I just wonder, like, what is the step for them as they go through schooling, or what is college a thing? You know, there's some questions I didn't ask because I didn't want to be rude, or, but as we were studying, we actually were reading through James while we were there. And in James, it talks about, at the very end, life is but a vapor. And those scriptures, I've always been like, well, thanks. You know, like, I get it, life's short, but like, it's just a vapor. It's just gone. Like, it's meaningless. But while we were there, I was reading in the morning and I was thinking about the children, and I was praying, especially for Roshane and some of the other ones, but especially him, just because I really do feel like there is a call. I really do feel like he is made to lead a community in whatever capacity that is.
Yeah.
So I was praying, and I was reading that scripture, and I was praying, and I was like, you know what? Life is but a vapor, but that doesn't mean it's meaningless, because it's a vapor and it's so small, but yet God writes every single day down in his book before we're born. Or yet he has a good plan and a good hope and a good future for us. Or yet he knows the number of hairs on our head. It is short, and there may seem like times that there is not a good future, but there is, because we have a good creator. And so I remember the rest of the week just praying that over them, of like, there is a future, there is a hope. Like, this school year is going to be a good school year. You're going to learn more than you ever have. You're going to make good friends. You're going to make good choices. I don't know what the future looks like for you, but it's good. And there's going to be so much more in store for you. And I believe that you are the one that's going to bring Jesus into this community and into Jamaica. And I believe that God's going to bring a revival. And I'm just crazy to believe that it's going to be through the children.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's good. That's good stuff.
love me some children, especially Roshane.
I know. They were so
And
precious.
Ethan.
Yes.
I
I
should have brought my water bottle.
I know. This little boy, Ethan. So we were painting the bench that you were talking about earlier. And so at the end, when all of it was painted, we put gloves on the children and painted the glove part, because it's oil paint, so it's gonna stick to you. And so we painted them, and they got to put their handprints all over that bench, and it was just like they were a part of making that happen too. So it was just so sweet. And Ethan, so we had all of this all this paint, and so he took the paint and the red, and he took it and he slung it everywhere, and it went all over her Awala.
My water bottle.
Yeah, her water bottle, and then went all over my arms and everything. And I was like, you know, we're just going to remember this. You know, we're going to forever and always remember Ethan.
Yeah, I'll look at it and start praying for him.
Yeah.
Even now, and I love it. It's my own little special thing, but
yeah, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So we were playing soccer with the children. I got to play soccer. I'm not a soccer player at all. I don't. Never. I love softball. I'm very good hand-eye coordinated. My feet were good.
Yeah.
I just don't know if we're soccer good. So I decided I was going to be the goalie, because I can block.
Yeah.
And I blocked one goal, and this little boy looked at me and said, "You stay there." And he ran away, and I was like, "Okay, I'll stay right here." And I started blocking all of their shots, which really was making the other team mad, because yet again, we're American girls and they should be able to beat us.
Right.
And at one point, Boston had walked away to get a water. They'd kicked the ball like way down the road, and so they were going to getting it. So me and Roshane and another little girl named Tashara was talking. And this little boy was kicking the ball on the field, and I was watching, but I was like, we're not playing right now. So he kicks it in the goal, and they're all like, "Goal!" And I said, I was talking. We weren't playing. And this one little kid walks up and he goes, "We don't care." And I was like, okay, okay, you can have the point. Good job. And so I laughed for a minute. I was like, man, they are mad they're losing.
Oh, yeah.
And another point, they speak patois there. And so another time, this little boy, I guess he shot, I blocked the goal. And he said something to me. And I have no idea what he said, but I knew it wasn't nice. And I was like, I don't know what you said, but that was an insult. And one of the other little boys just looked at me and smiled and ran away. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll let them score a few more goals next time. I'm just too competitive. I was ready to win.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We can't just play in there for fun. Like, we're going to win this thing.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Might have made a little bit of some enemies, some bad blood, but we won.
We did. That was so much fun. There was this one little girl. Her name was Nana. I don't remember her actual name. Shanika. Beautiful. She's so cute. And so back to the paint. So my hair was in braids all week. And so when we were painting, I had like a cup full of paint. And I didn't realize that like my pigtails were like dipping in the paint. And so, like, I had, like, white tips and stuff like that. And Nana didn't know my name. And so she calls me over and was like, "Hey, Painty Pigtails." And so she called me that all week.
All week long.
All week. Painty Pigtails.
Painty Pigtails.
I told her, I said, when I go back to America, I'm going to tell everyone that that's my new nickname now. So,
yeah.
This is me telling y'all this is my new nickname.
Painty Pigtails. That's funny. There was another little boy there, and I don't remember his actual name, but his nickname was Chop Chop.
Yes.
And I asked one of the little boys, I said, "How do you get that nickname?" And they were like, "It's just his nickname." And I was like, wait, he didn't do anything for his nickname? Because, like, in America, you got to do something for your nickname if you get something like that. Like, if his name's Chop Chop, I would expect he, like, chopped a coconut in half or, you know, like.
Right.
He chopped something. Had to.
Or like he's always running late, so you're like, "Chop chop."
Yeah. Something. Or maybe he likes pork chops. We don't know, you know. But I was like, okay. So all week long we were like, okay, what's up, Chop Chop? But I have no idea what that means. So.
He was cute.
So cute. Love him. Another thing I got to do, which is really sweet, Miss Keisha, and maybe she watches this. I love you so much. My heart, you gained my heart. But Miss Keisha is a phenomenal woman over there. She's lived there, raised there.
Yep.
And she takes care of the community children, which are already, you got my heart for that. But every night she would come and she would cook for us. And I absolutely love to cook. And so I asked her, I said, when I get done with work, if I go wash up really quickly, can I come help you cook? And she was like, sure. Well, I learned later that she doesn't let everyone cook with her. She doesn't teach everyone. So,
hey,
I'm going to wear a crown for a little bit. But I was able to learn how they cook there, what rice and peas is, how you make it, how you make curry chicken, how you make what they call a festival, which is like a hush puppy and a funnel cake, kind of like a mixture of it. And it's something that the children really love. And how they make their slaw, and it's got cucumbers in it, which I thought was really cool. And so I just got to learn their food and their culture. I actually have jerk chicken marinating in the fridge right now.
Let's go.
But I got to learn, and I loved that. Something about your culture and how you cook and what you use and what about these peppers and why you do this was just really cool to me. So I got to learn that. But in the kitchen, when you look out the window, there was this beautiful tree, gorgeous tree. And from the first moment I saw it, I was like, I love that tree. I don't know why I like that tree. I just do. To find out later that it was an almond tree. And you don't know this because I've not really shared it on the podcast, but all of my friends know this. When I was in school and ministry, the Lord told me to start eating almonds. I went on an almond fast.
Yep.
Weird, I know. I didn't even like almonds then, but so I started eating almonds all the time. And one day we were in class with Pastor Gretchen, and she was teaching on Jeremiah chapter 1. And she was teaching about how God is called Jeremiah to be a prophet to the nations and all these things. Well, later in the chapter that most of us don't read because we get the first few verses and put it on our walls.
Right.
But she's talking about Jeremiah in the first vision he has. And God says, Jeremiah, what do you see? And he says, I see an almond branch. And he said, you've seen correctly because I'm watching to see that my word is fulfilled in your life. And when I got there and I was so connected to this tree, 2 days or 3 days in, I found out it's an almond tree. I started weeping because even in that class I wept because, well, in the class, Pastor Gretchen said, I'm telling you, God's going to fulfill his word. Maybe someone in here just needs to start eating almonds. And I started crying because I'd been eating almonds and I didn't know why. And the Lord had revealed it, that every word he's spoken is going to come to pass.
Yep.
So now I'm in Jamaica and I'm drawn to this tree of all things, of course, and I find out it's an almond tree, and it's right in the kitchen windows where I'd been all week long. And it was like a moment where God was like, I told you I'm watching because my word will be fulfilled in your life. What word? Many words, but one of the first ones is that you'll step foot in 5 continents.
Right.
And a fun fact is Jamaica is not a different continent. So I still got 5 to go.
Let's go.
It was just an opening of the door and the Lord saying, I've told you and I'm watching. And I even got to bring an almond back home with me.
Let's go.
I put it in my snack bag, brought it home. I got it. And so that was just a really cool moment for me that the Lord would tie in something from 3-4 years ago into that trip. And so it was really sweet. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
And how many years ago did that tree get planted to have grown? Because he knew, and Chris and Rachel would rent that house, and I mean, he just knows. He's just a good God, and he knows.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool moment.
So obviously there's just so much that has happened. And we were only there for a week, but I felt like we were there. Like, it felt so quick, but like because so much happened, I felt like we were there forever.
So long.
Yeah. It was incredible. But one thing for me that it was just, I don't even have any words, but it was just so like, wow, only God could do this, is we had opportunities to lead worship at the church that we were going to on Sunday, like one for Sunday morning and then that night for a night of worship. And this is just so cool. I'll just go ahead and share. So one night we had to like practice, like what we were going to do for that Sunday. And so we're pretty much just going like, what do you feel like you need to sing and all this stuff. And we're pretty much just practicing. And who was in the group? Like I wasn't really, so it was Lily and Anna and your aunt and uncle, and I think that was it.
Kaylee.
And Kaylee, yes. Cousin.
She was playing the drums.
Yes, that's right. So, so all of them were all in like this room and stuff. And Lily, I really got to connect with her with guitar and stuff like that, just teaching her some things about like the number system, all of the guitar talk. I don't want to bore y'all about it, but I get very passionate and I love talking about it. But it was just so cool to see that like our hearts got knitted together that night. And so even though our hearts were getting knitted like with the children and the people there, it was just cool to see that our hearts were getting knitted together while being there as a group. Yeah. And so so all of that was going on, and we led worship on Sunday, and it was absolutely incredible. And I don't know if I ever really went into depth of like worship for myself. I don't know. I shared this testimony today, but I'll share a little bit about it. Well, like when it comes to using my voice and singing and all the things, like it's always been hard. And I know I've talked about that on the podcast, but I don't think anyone knows like the true depth of it is like my whole life. Well, my whole life, really, I just always struggled with my voice in general. And I started playing guitar when I was 15, and I would sing, but like as like a whisper in my room, like no one like never heard me ever. So at my church in Florida, my pastor, he used to put a microphone right in front of my face when I was worshiping, and I would just stand there. And like, I was super stubborn. Like I would not sing. I would not open my mouth. And so with moving here to Alabama, I'm just so grateful to have friends and leaders that, see the potential in me and like see the call of God on my life. And they're not going to allow me just to blatantly just disobey or, just not step into the call fully. And so, yeah, so I always asked her to hold me accountable, because when people would be like, oh, like, are you going to sing, or just simply ask me to lead worship, I would laugh and say no. One time I immediately got convicted, and I immediately thought of the story of Sarah, where God was telling her that she will bear a child, and she laughed. And so, like, I just thought of that, and I was like, oh, man, okay, so I'm not ever going to laugh. And I asked you to hold me accountable to that. And I also made a vow to the Lord, like, if anyone else were to ask me to lead worship or anything like that, like, my answer will never be no.
Yeah.
So, and that doesn't mean that I'm going to like it every single time, but I'm just going to start being obedient. And so with that, it was just so cool. Like, that was like my whole first year of living here, and to see the Lord work in that. I never thought it would ever be possible for me to lead worship, period, never mind in a whole different country. So it was just cool to see leading worship on Sunday morning and night service. And I was just in awe of, like, this is actually happening, you know? And just like with your voice in general, you know, just everyone has their own voice. And it was just cool because no one else has my voice. And so
Sure.
I just to let it be heard in Jamaica, like, it was just so cool. So
It was cool as a best friend watching, just seeing from where you started to where you are at now has been such a really cool experience for me. I want to be your biggest cheerleader, and I hope I always have been. So it is really cool to see you be from closed off to open, and then in a different country. My goodness, it was awesome.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and as you're talking about voices, I actually was able to give a prophetic word to the house there in Jamaica, which is really cool. Something that I struggle with a lot is using the prophetic voice in my life. I do feel like that's a call in my life. Not that I'm trying to be some big prophet or some big name. I think we're all called to live a prophetic lifestyle, and we all have utterance because we all can hear from the Lord. But in me, I'm so easily believe it for you or anyone else. When it comes to me, I really struggle with that. And I don't know why. But knowing when I went there, I was praying as y'all were practicing and hearing a word from the Lord and knowing I have to release this, whether that is a conversation with pastor or whether that's through prayer, because you can release prophetic words completely in many different facets or many different avenues. Right. But I was able to get the opportunity to release that in front of the house, which was a very cool opportunity for me and one of victory, just that I was confident and I could go up there in boldness and release the word of the Lord and know that it's not even about me. It's about planting a seed.
Right.
And not only just planting a seed, but planting a seed in Jamaica. So yeah, no matter where you're at, I hope you're hearing this, that you are made for this, to release your voice, whether that's in worship or praise or prayer and intercession or even prophetic unction. You have a voice that only you have.
Yeah, it's true.
It's unique. And you have a spot only you can fill in God's heart. We don't want to rob him of his glory. We don't want to rob him or the earth of what he wants to put in it. And you look in scripture, how many times did prophets have to release something or someone had to say something? And if they didn't, what would have happened?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And for so long, I always said, like, I absolutely hated my voice, like, just even my talking voice. And, like, who am I? Because literally, like, he made us in his image. And so when we say, like, we don't like something about ourselves, how much of a slap in the face is that to God, you know? Because we were made in his image, you know? And so, yeah, I just, a lot of conviction and everything like that. But, like, everything. And he thinks everything about you is beautiful, you know? And yeah, and if there is something that you don't really like about yourself, ask yourself why, you know, and have the Lord reveal some things in you, because it's not about the thing that you don't like. It's something deeper, and some deeper hurt there. So
yeah, something's happened. Take it to prayer.
Right.
Take it to prayer. Yeah. Well, one other thing that happened while we were in Jamaica that was really cool was that the Lord wrapped up the trip with a big bow for me. I feel it's so funny because we talk about the Jamaica trip and I feel like I'm like me, and I'm not trying to be that way. It just was so fulfilling.
Yeah.
But I had a birthday in Jamaica. I got to celebrate my birthday. I'm not going to share how old I am. But it was a really cool birthday. One of a lot of fulfillment, one of just celebrating victory with you, with my family in a different country. Doing one of my favorite things, which is being at the ocean. And I loved it. One funny story I will tell from my birthday is we did get bamboozled.
Yes.
A guy came up to us and asked us if we wanted to go see dolphins. Okay. You don't know me like this, but I am one of the biggest marine biology. I'm one of the biggest marine biologists in my mind. When I was a little girl, I wanted to be a dolphin trainer, actually. And then instead I went to nursing school. So I love science. I love everything biology and anatomy. And and dolphins are my favorite animal. And so this guy came up, asked us if we wanted to go. I was like, absolutely. It's my birthday. Let's go. And so he took us and he pulled up to a resort that had like a big fence in the ocean where they had dolphins. The resort had dolphins, not like the ocean's dolphins.
No.
And people were swimming with them. So we pulled up and got to watch other people's encounter with the dolphins. It was so lame. But they did take us to this cove. They called it Butterfly Cove. There was not a butterfly, so be for real, I'm not sure about that one. But there was fresh water, which I thought was really cool. Fresh water flowing into the ocean, salt water. And so it was very crystal clear. It was very beautiful. Mm-hmm. And in the cove, there was a baby blue heron. And if you've listened to the podcast at all, you know that that's my passcode with the Lord on my birthday in a different country. It's not the great blue heron we have here. It's a different species. But how cool is that the Lord knew I would be there. It was just a perfect blue ribbon on my birthday and on the trip. So it was very sweet.
I love that. And one thing that happened to me was I got stung by a jellyfish for the first time ever. And I think it's a huge flex. It hurt really bad, but it was a flex. And it even happened like right here. So, I mean, you know, it...
The jellyfish was the size of like a quarter.
But I will say it was the biggest one out of all of the ones that stung people. I'm being dead for real.
I don't even believe you.
No, I'm dead serious. But, you know, it hurts like when you're not really expecting it, you know?
I mean, I kind of wanted to be stung.
No.
Just to say I was stung. Make that one make sense. I mean, I'm glad I didn't get stung.
Yeah, be grateful.
But it would be kind of a flex to be like,
it is.
Yeah, I got stung by a jellyfish in Jamaica.
No big deal.
I survived.
Right. You know. You don't have to know the size, but, you know.
It was massive. It was the biggest
huge.
jellyfish I'd ever seen.
Its things around my arm.
I almost died. I made it out alive, yo.
Yeah. I was fighting for my life.
Fighting hard. One other thing on that day, though, my birthday, was Lydia, precious Lydia. Yes. We love you. She actually made me a cake, and her birthday was the week before, and she still had some balloons in her Sweet 16 banner, and so she hung it all up in the kitchen dining room area and made me a little birthday party, which meant the absolute world to me. That was the sweetest thing. So
it was precious.
It was so sweet. Yeah. I wanted to cry. It was so precious.
Very thoughtful. She's awesome.
She is. She is a rock star.
Yeah, she is.
Well, we hope that you enjoyed just a little snippet glimpse into our Jamaica trip. There's so many things that we could say, so many moments that happen that we probably aren't even sharing right now as we process through this.
Yeah.
But one thing we do want to say is thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone who sowed in prayer or in finances or in encouragement.
Yeah.
Nothing was wasted. Everything was sown into the soil there by giving away 80 backpacks at a school bash for the children, or painting at a primary and basic school, and building benches and building shelves, and just all of the things that we were able to do to minister to the people. Whether you were there or not, you had a part of it, because we wouldn't have been able to go without you. And so we want to say one big thank you. We pray that God brings back what you have sown into us 100-fold.
Yes. Amen.
And we will see a harvest in Jamaica.
That's right.
And you will be a part of it.
That's right. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, we have a surprise for you guys. So we're not going to say any details yet, but there will be an announcement tomorrow. So please be sure to be on the lookout for that on our social media.
Yep.
And do you want to say a little bit about kind of what it is, but not say what it is?
I'll give some details. Okay. So if you have followed us, you know we've released 8 episodes. They're kind of sporadic. That was not by any kind of design. It was just what we felt like the Lord had laid on our heart, which is exactly what this podcast is. But going forward, we feel a shifting in the spirit to kind of take one big topic and dive into that. And I'm not going to tell you what the topic is. That's what you get tomorrow. But so we'll take it, and it's not going to be like a season, but it's going to kind of feel that way. Like for this time, we're going to dive into this, and it's going to be more in depth and more of what we're learning and more vulnerable. You'll even notice we're in a different setting. Yeah. We moved apartments in the midst of all the craziness this summer. And so, yeah, we want to bring you to home base during this next part. We want you to see inside of our hearts and what God is doing, because he's doing so much and speaking so much. The world seems to be going crazy and crazier and crazier, and that's biblical. That's going to happen. But as that happens, we want to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and we want to make sure we're finding truth. We want to make sure we know who the Lord is. We want to make sure we're loving him the best that we can. And more than anything, we want to make sure that we're living for the reason that we were made, for this hour.
Yeah, that's good.
We had a dinner last night where we planned everything out and charted everything and for this next part. And so we are so excited to share that with you. We're so excited to share our hearts and what God is absolutely doing in us.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
Me too.
It'll be good. Well, like we said, just keep a lookout on social media, and we'll just keep you guys updated, and we're excited for this new chapter.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. We're glad to be back with you. If you haven't, like us on Facebook, on Spotify, on YouTube, on Instagram, anything and everything, and share our post tomorrow, because we want to get it out to as many people as we can.
Yep, that's right.
All right. Well, we will see you next week for the start of topic. You'll find out. Bye.